Hello and welcome back all over again. Well, we had a good discussion yesterday on the SENA countries, and today it's time for three big giants from the Asian subcontinent. The clock is ticking, the calendars is the days on the calendar are running down, so we are just 4 days away from entering into that World Cup mode. Right, to discuss Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and India, and what's their going to be strategies, what could be their strategies perhaps, and how the squad is looking like for all these three teams. We are back again with Praneeth and Shravan. Praneeth and Shravan, how are you guys? And what do you make out of the Sri Lankan unit? Let's start with Shravan today for a change. Shravan, Sri Lanka.
Yeah, Sri Lanka. Once a sleeping giant, and now they are completely off roads. They lack consistency. So I don't see that this Sri Lankan side will make any impact on this World Cup. As far as the Asia Cup concerned, they reached the finals, but still, due to some bad captaincy from Babar Azam and some lucky things gone their way, and they somehow got into the finals of Asia Cup. But this time in World Cup, I don't see them making any impact or any kind of what do you say, any kind of upsets, because they are also like they're also they lack consistency in a big time now, and I don't see them going pretty long in this tournament.
Pradeep,
Yeah,
what? Yeah, what do you think about the? We can start with the batting lineup first, right? So you have never seen that consistency coming from the Sri Lankan camp when it comes down to their batting, because you've got players like Kushal Mendes, uh, Samaravira, then you have Karuna Ratre, but there's no coming together of all the big players in one game. All right, you have players playing good in patches. You have somebody like a Kushal Mendes who performs in a couple of games, and then he has a dry spell for the next 3 or 4 games or five, maybe for that matter. So you don't see that a unit gelling up properly. Do you think it's going to be a way too disadvantage for them going into a major tournament as a World Cup?
yeah, that's true. Like even if they have good players like Sadira Samaravikrama, Patum Nesanka in the opening, but the problem is if people around them are not playing well, it kind of has an impact. Like for example, take Angelo Matthews. When Sangakara, Jayavardhane, all those guys were playing, Matthews was a different player altogether. Once they retired, Matthews is a different player. So these things have an impact. If there are no senior players uh, to pass that baton on, so it has a problem. So I feel Nisanka, Patum Nisanka, and all these young players will have that problem. So it's important for people like Kusal Mendes or Kushal Pereira or Karunaratne, all these guys to step up. So that's where I feel Sri Lanka is missing. Otherwise, in the bowling department, I think they are decent. Like spinners can do really well, and pacers can also do a decent job, right? So if so, they have the ability to defend like a 200 220 runs. But now that question comes, do they have the ability to score those runs? So that's where I feel Sri Lanka will struggle.
No, we are talking about the World Cup going to as far as 375 and 400. I mean, do you think Sri Lanka can defend 220 on flat pitches?
No, what I see is Sri Lanka is mainly playing in the pitches very slow and low. The first four games itself, they are playing in Delhi, Hyderabad, and Lucknow. So I don't see 375, 380 will be an issue for them. So anyway, they're not going to set that much total. If they get to bat first on these tracks, and if they manage to score that 220, 230, then they can fight a bit. So on these tracks, the spin bowling will be a very very big weapon, and we have seen that in Colombo what they did with India. They just completely taken out the fast bowlers off the attack, and they literally ran through batting with spin bowling alone. So if they do manage that again, they might spin surprise in those games. But when it comes to Pune or Mumbai, Bengaluru, they don't stand a chance.
And let me tell you, I mean, the track in Hyderabad is not that, like, spin friendly compared to obviously Chennai and Lucknow. But I mean, it can go for big runs, basically. I mean, the bowling team can go for big runs. So, what do you think should be the playing 11 coming to Sri Lanka? So, Pathum
Pathum
Nissanka and
Nissanka.
Karunaratne?
No, I will play Kushal Pereira instead.
Oh, you play, all right, okay. So, for you, it's going to be Kushal Pereira and Pathum Nissanka.
Yes,
Okay, and Karunaratne would be left out of the squad
yes, straight
on the
away.
current form. On the current form.
No, I prefer Kushal Pereira. Can be explosive, and he might gives that aggressive start at the top. And he see in India you should use those power play overs. If you pass that power play overs, then it might get tricky. Even their first four games were on the low tracks, except Hyderabad. If you mention, the other three games were in the lower track. So you need to go on hard on the initial overs. So for that, I need Kushal Pereira instead of Karunaratne.
Yeah, like I agree with that. Like it's better to go with Kushal Pereira and Nisanka
So who bats
and
at number three then?
Mendes, Kushal
Kushal
Mendes.
Mendes.
Okay, followed by Sadira Samaravikra
Yes,
at four. Right.
and De Silva at 5.
Dhananjay De Silva at five. Number six.
Shanaka or
Dasun Shanaka.
Charita Salanka,
Charita Salanka at six. Then followed by Dasun Shanaka at
Dashan
seven.
Shanaka. Yeah,
And then you have
Velalaki
Rajita
at
at
8.
eight. Rajita at eight. Velalage at
Velalaki
Velala.
can.
nine. Velalage at nine. Then number 10 would be Madhun. What's his name? I forgot the name. Dilshan Madhushanka
Yes. Yeah.
and Kasun Rajita. Beg your pardon. Patirana.
Patirana. Yeah. That would be the idea.
Deekshana.
Deekshana is not in the squad, right?
He's in the squad, but
Deekshana is in
he's
the squad.
injured. He's injured. Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be the bowling would be. I mean, how many spinners they would play? They'll have Velalage, Dhananjay De Silva can ball, Charit Asalanka can ball. So you have three spinning options up your sleeve. So you can get 20 overs out of them, right? And then you would turn to Patirana for 10 overs, Rajita for 10 more. You'll have 40 overs covered. And who else?
You need Lahiru Kumara.
Oh, you have Lahiru Kumara. I missed Lahiru Kumara actually in my side.
Shanak
Yeah.
also can bowl, so he can fill in those
Yeah.
overs of part time.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, they can. Yeah, so they'll have a good seven options to complete the quota of 50 overs, right? So, where do you see the problem in Sri Lankan unit? I mean, is it going to be the bowling I mean, which looks to be more stable, or the batting, that is not delivering on a consistent basis?
Yeah, it's the batting which is not delivering with a consistent basis. Yeah, like otherwise bowling they have options and they have stability and they have ability to take the wickets as well. And in the recent past, the only one game that Sri Lankan bowling faltered was against Afghanistan, where Afghanistan was trying to, uh, score those 290, 300 runs in that 35 overs. So otherwise, in every other game, the bowling was delivering it really well. So the problem is with the batting. Some days they will score like 290, 300. Some days they will be getting all out in 150, 160. So that's the biggest problem right now for Sri Lanka.
So, do you see them challenging for that top four spot? Don't laugh at me, but I'm just trying to take your guys' opinion.
No, definitely no.
Yeah,
Never
like
know.
I mean they
Playing
can
playing in the subcontinent. I don't know. I mean,
they can create few upsets here and there, but they can't come into top four. Like that's the opinion. Yeah.
If you take into subcontinent, I think England and Australian players also will feel their home soil because they are playing way too much cricket in India nowadays, and I think
I think it's more
more
more than any other foreign players. It's the Australian players. and the English players, basically, they are playing a lot more cricket compared to the other teams, especially with the IPL. So even I think it's just Dasun Shanaka and Hasaranga who play in the IPL. Other than them, there's nobody down there from Sri Lanka. So and
Deekshana
Patirana,
and
and
Pathira.
Patirana, yeah. So yeah, two from the CSK. Yes. So yeah, I mean, so do you think sixth or seventh spot at least for them?
Yeah, we could hope that. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's I think that's gonna be the unanimous decision. I mean, that's the lineup we can go with. That we think that they might go with. So now moving to the next one, the unpredictable team, the team with the best fast bowling in the world, and you know they can cause they can hurt any big team in the world. But I think that the defeat of 228 has hit them so hard that it has opened a lot of Pandora's boxes, and they are actually finding to, you know, get that right combination basically. So, Pakistan, obviously, I'm talking about. Where do you see them going in this competition? I mean, do you think they do have like a really good chance, especially when Naseem Shah is not there? They don't really have somebody firing up from the top because Fakhar Zama looks completely out of touch. Plus, there's one thing that I learned in the game when they played against New Zealand in Hyderabad, because they never actually gave chances to players who were coming from the bench. Because, I mean, ideally, they should have played Fakhar Zama and try to get that confidence back in him. All right, go and should completely para track, go and score those runs, hit some boundaries, get that confidence back for the game against Netherlands on 5th, on 6th perhaps. So, I mean, they didn't do that basically. So, I don't know what the strategy is going to be for them and what playing 11 they're going to have. So I'll start with Praneeth this time. Praneeth, what do you think should be their combination, or what do you think Pakistan is up to in this World Cup?
I mean the decisions which Babar is taking, like even with the warm up game in New Zealand, like he didn't play Fakhar Zaman in that Pata Hyderabad wicket, and at the same time he didn't give Shadab Khan those overs, who is finding his form, and so somehow Babar's cap.
So sorry. Actually, there was a report that came in from the Pakistan sources from the team management itself that they wanted to give opportunity to bowlers who can fill in those spots basically. So that's the reason the main bowlers didn't bowl. Most of the main bowlers, and I mean, I don't agree to that logic. I don't think most of the people would agree because Shadab is again going for runs. So he could have chosen to bowl. And if you were actually going for part-time spinners and stuff like that, then you didn't bowl Iftikhar as well. So Iftikhar should have been given at least 4 or 5 overs here and there. He didn't get an opportunity to bowl, especially when Rachin Ravindra and Chapman, two proper left-hand batsmen. Rachin Ravindra obviously is getting up to it, but yeah, so they didn't give. And let me tell you, I mean, it was Shadab who was leading the side. Babar was sitting out for at least 50% of the run chase. So yeah, Praneeth, continue.
So yeah, like based on the warm up, I like the other bowlers, like in the absence of Shaheen and Naseem, the entire bowling unit looked literally uh, they couldn't do any they couldn't do any impact for even they gave a target of 350. New Zealand was like literally cruising. They were never in trouble. So like entire thing depends on Shaheen in this World Cup. Based on Shaheen's performance, we would get to know how Haris Rauf would perform, how Hasan Ali would perform. All these question marks are there, and even in the batsmen, in that 50 overs batting of Pakistan, 30 overs were batted by Babar Azam and Rizwan, who were uh, although out of runs, but they were never out of form. So you don't know how this Iftikhar Ahmed, Salman Agha.
Well, I mean, that's I mean, to be very honest with you, if I can get a bit critical about that move for Babar Azam and Rizwan to bat those 30 overs out of 50. Well, they were, yeah, like you said, they were out of runs but never out of form. So they should have actually, the way Williamson did, right? He scored his 50 and off he went. So Babar could have done something like that. Rizwan could have done something like that. I mean, there was no need for him to score 100 and then go out. No need for 80 and then go out. Somebody like a Iftikhar who doesn't get that, run in, regularly. So, and somebody like a Shadab or Fakhar Zaman for that matter, they could have come in early. All right, one good move was Shaud Shakil. South Shakil did get that opportunity to score some runs, and he did. Grabbed it with both hands, and now there's going to be a discussion who bats at number 4 for them because South Shakil, he looks to be a proper player, especially when you see his test performances. He's hit 550s in, 750s in 7 games, 7 innings or 7 games perhaps, for Pakistan, playing everywhere. So he looks to be quite decent at number 4, but I think Pakistan are a bit too adamant to play Rizwan down there. So I'm not pretty sure about that strategy. Plus, they are trying Salman Aga or I don't know, Abdullah Shafiq, I guess. He opened the innings a couple of times. So, if is there a proper plan to drop Fakhar Zaman completely out of the playing 11? If that's the case, then it could backfire because Fakhar is no doubt he's out of the form. So right now it has to be something like, all right, play your man in who you can bank on to score those or chase down those 350s and 370s. And that is without Fakhar Zaman, I don't think Pakistan has had a chance to score those big runs. Because Imam, we know he's a decent player, but he has his own limitations, right? He can't score those 70 ball hundreds. And so is the case with Babar Azam for that matter, right? So, right, I'll shift to Shravanand now. Shravanand, top 2 for you. Number 1 and number 2 for Pakistan.
For me, it's always Imamullah and Fakhar Zaman, hands down.
All right. Same for you, Praneeth.
Yeah, Imamullah and Fakhar Zaman because
And then Babar at 3.
Imamullah's Babar at 3 because Imamullah's technique is not like he's not that flamboyant player who will come and play strokes from the ball one. He takes time. So for that you need to compensate with Fakhar Zaman who is uh, who can score at a brisk rate. Whereas Abdullah Shafiq is also a similar player to Imamullah, so it would be uh, like they will end up choking and end up giving wickets. So it won't help for Pakistan.
Because if you see, the style of play, you have Abdullah Shafiq. If at all they try and go with Abdullah Shafiq, Imamul Haq, Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, it's gonna be sort of a monotony that would be coming at the opposition. It's like with similar, what do you call how do I put it? Like style of play, right? So you need to have somebody who can take to the opposition and score those runs, at a brisk pace. For that reason itself, you draft somebody like a Fakhar Zaman up in the top. So it's gonna be for me. It's gonna be Imam, Fakhar, Babar at 3, then Saud Shakir at 4, cause he brings that left hand thing into the equation. Plus he's a proper cricketer. I mean, he can score everywhere. He can score those shots, hit those boundaries. Number 5 for me should be Iftikhar, all right, because he's a proper ODI batsman, all right. And then number 6 can be Rizwan, all right. You guys take it forward from there on.
No,
I would put Rizwan at 5.
Okay.
And 6 you could go with Iftikhar Ahmed. And after that Shadab Khan, 7. And then you have bowlers like Haris Rauf, Mohammad Wasim Jr., Shaheen Afridi, and then Hassan Ali.
You agree with that, Shravan?
Yeah, but given that Pakistan is playing their games in a very good batting track, except against Chennai, except against Afghanistan in Chennai, they're playing majorly in Hyderabad, Kolkata, Bengaluru. So I see that they can go with Fakhar Zaman at the top, and that will be the wise reason. Also, dropping Rizwan at 5 or 6, I don't see that Pakistan will do. Though South Akil brings that what do you say left hand dynamics to the lineup, I still feel that South Akil will come at number 5. Rizwan will stay at 4, and Iftikhar will be at 6, and 7 Shadab Khan. So going with 3 fast bowlers will be the ideal prospect for Pakistan in these good batting tracks because they need the bowlers to exploit the conditions also. What if you are going to bowl first in Kolkata or Bengaluru, then you need that extra zip in the bowling, and Extra bowling option will help a lot in this batting tracks.
Right. So who's gonna play for you? Like it's gonna be Hassan Ali, Haris Rauf, Shaheen. Those three will be your main quicks.
Quicks
Yes,
and
completely.
instead of Shadab Khan, I would go with Usama Mir.
They don't
I
do that change.
They won't
I
do that
mean,
change. Yeah.
they won't do that because they won't do that, but still, this is a better move for the team, though.
Because the good thing with Osama is gonna be like most of the teams haven't played him. Plus, he provides that genuine wicket taking ability, especially on Indian grounds. He will go for runs. He might go for runs, but then if he can bowl those 10 overs out, 65 and gives you 3 wickets, you have some solid performances in the middle overs, and that is exactly where Pakistan has had problems over the last couple of series or so.
Maybe they could bring in Usama in place of Nawaz. That could be an option, but they will lose that left only lone left arm spinner also. But in track against Afghanistan in Chennai, they might bring in 3 spinners there. I think in that game, Usama will get a chance to play.
Right. So the prediction time. Where do you see them ending the World Cup?
5.
5.
Yeah, fine.
Well, I think 5, but you never know actually, because I mean it all boils down to how Shaheen balls those first 3 overs of his. Because if he balls those 3 overs, then he has the confidence. Like everybody gets that confidence. If he doesn't
Yeah,
deliver,
that's how they play.
yeah, that's how they play basically. I mean, if he doesn't deliver, then the whole team is just gonna choke because they didn't get wickets up front. That's what it's looking like, because you don't really find those many hands up these days. All right, I'm gonna take the ball and get those wickets in the middle over. Or if Shaheen has had a bad day, then I'm gonna go out there and get a few players out. So I mean that is something missing. Plus they don't have Naseem Shah, who was actually bowling as good as Shaheen in the last few games that they have played. So it's gonna be a bit difficult for them. But yeah, I think right now, looking at the strengths of the other teams, 5 seems to be a bit too realistic for Pakistan, at least in my
True,
opinion.
true, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Now, moving on briskly to one of the favorites and everybody's favorite here, Team India. There's been a big ICC cloud over last 11 years, now 10 years. It's been more than 10 years perhaps. And we are playing at home. I mean, there's no better situation than we are in right now. Everything is in order. We have hit the form just in the nick of time, winning the Asia Cup, like literally annihilating Sri Lanka out for 50 odd, and then going on and chasing that total, having a good series against Australia, winning that one, getting that momentum. All the top players are in form. There's nobody who's out of form. Jadeja, though he's not scoring runs, but he's contributing with the ball and in the field, obviously. What do you think should be the playing 11? Because we have discussed Indian team a lot on this channel. So we'll dive straight into the playing 11 now. And I don't see there's going to be a way too much discussion on this, but obviously we'll make it a point to discuss all the 11 positions. There would be somebody left out. That is going to be way too critical. Who do you leave out from the 11? That is the biggest question of this hour. Praneeth, I'll go with you first. Read out your 11, then Shravanan will do his, and then I'll do mine. We'll go that way.
okay, okay. So for me, of course, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli. Number 4, I would go with uh, Shreyas Iyer. 5, Ishan Kishan. Then, because Ishan Kishan is the wicket keeper, hands down, because you have seen in the Australia series that KL Rahul was fumbling a lot of chances as a keeper. So Ishan Kishan would be the keeper. Number 6 would be Hardik Pandya. 7, Jadeja. 8, Ashwin. 9, Kuldeep Yadav. Then Siraj and Jasprit Bumrah.
So you play two fast bowlers and Hardik Pandya as a third pacer, and go with Kuldeep
Yeah.
and Ashwin.
Like Ashwin, I could put him on the rotation thing with Shami, depending on the pitches. Depending on the pitches, I could rotate between Ashwin and Mohammad Shami.
Who's your number eight, by the way?
Number eight, again, you have to go with one less batter though. I don't because you don't want to take Shardul Thakur for the batting depth, right? If he's not able to do well in bowling.
Shravanand, what do you think? What's your 11 gonna look like?
Yeah, completely. For for all of us, the 9 players will be constant. The only problem is with number 5 and number 8.
Yes.
I will slightly differ with Pranit in the batting order. Number 5, I will go with Ishan Kishan, KL Rahul instead of Shreyas Iyer, because though Shreyas Iyer got that century, but in that game, if you notice that Australians didn't peppered him with the bounces. They never bowled a bouncer to him, so he was scoring very fluently.
That's a very valid point because if I have analyzed, I mean, if I have watched, I would never use the word analyze because obviously, I mean, you're talking about international cricketers who are playing at the highest level, so you can have your opinions as fans, but okay, what I have noticed of Shreyas Iyer is something in between 138 and 145s. He struggles with those short balls. I've seen him get out on a number of occasions, actually, even in the IPL. So, yeah,
Yeah,
go on.
that is what happened within the Pakistan game also in the Asia Cup. They bowled him short delivery and he just got out. So the same thing happened in the last ODI. Once Shreyas Iyer comes in, Hazelwood and even Cameron Green was bowling short balls to him, and he was really out of sorts in that game, and he was a bit rusty. So on that note, KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan will be my number 4 and number 5. At number 8, I will play Ashwin in the spinning tracks, and I will replace him with Shami. Though I go one batter short in those games, I need my bowling should be strong. So I will be going with my 3 pacers, and they will do my job.
I think I'll agree with Shravanand because that's one, but still, that Shreyas Iyer thing is a bit because to me personally, he looks like a man on a mission for me. I mean, the way he walks on the pitch these days, I mean, for all those innings that he has played so far upon his return, he is actually determined to do something really big personally and for the team. I mean, I don't know, by looking at him, you get that feeling. So I would keep him maybe for now and see how it goes. And because comparatively, tracks obviously your tracks in Chennai may not have that much of a bounce. So I don't know how he would negotiate over there compared to something like in Dharamshala or okay, Mohali is not there. So yeah, I mean, for that position, it could be horses for courses, and down at 8, I would always go with Ashwin. And yeah, if the wicket is way too suitable, then go with 3 pacers and they'll do the job, like you said. So I think we have a uniformity when it comes down to 9 positions. I think it's just about those two critical, like we all agreed. So where do you see Team India finishing? Podium finish?
Winners, winners,
Winners?
obviously.
Obviously, like they would be in the top four, and we would hope that they win the trophy.
I would definitely hope for them to win. I'm actually seeing them in top 2. Okay, but then it's gonna be on. Okay, if it's India versus England, I think India will win. Okay, if it's India versus Australia, then I'll start the game 50-50. Only for the
What if it
reason.
is against New Zealand then?
Let's not go there for now. Let India and New Zealand play the game in Dharamshala, and then we'll talk about it. So I mean, if it's India versus Australia, I'll say the game starts maybe 60-40 to Australia, only for one reason, because Australia have a lot of world beaters in their squad. That's one of the reasons basically, because I know
They know
anything can
how to
happen on
win.
that given day,
Yeah.
you know. But if it's England, then I know because there's a possibility that India can actually do well against England in India. That's something that I have a feeling, like whether you bowl first or bat first. But if it's Australia, then it's going to be that's going to be a different beast altogether. I saw Mitchell Stark yesterday, and I don't know. I mean, I'm actually like a bit scared right now how it's gonna shape up when the top order faces Mitchell Stark, especially if it's like second innings and the ball is swinging and seaming a bit, and you never know what it's gonna be like, right? So yeah, I mean, we all want India to win, and we will hope, obviously, like on 19th of November. It's Rohit Sharma who holds that trophy. So I think with that we can conclude the top three Asian teams as of now. And do join us again. We will be back to you on another episode where we discuss Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and the Netherlands. So do keep liking, sharing, and subscribing our content. We will be coming to you on a regular basis covering this World Cup. Thank you so much.